Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to another Pawn Master video, and today let's go over the upcoming Gloria Alt 2 and the soccer rabbit. Alright, so let's do this. And so yeah, as usual, it should be dropping tonight, which we would be something for live when that happens, blah blah. And alright, so this unit is it's slightly complicated. All it's more it just has a lot of stuff, right? It has like 3 different forms as like max moves that ties into changing those forms and all that stuff. It's just the different types that it swaps into. There's just a lot of stuff, man. There's just a lot of stuff. So let's try to quickly go over it as fast as we can. All right, so okay, in terms of any of the main stuff, I mean stat wise, it's pretty it's all right. It's decently fast. The attack's decently high. HP is decently high, and then the other stuff are not really relevant. And okay, so yeah, here's the thing. As 3 different moves, at least offensive ones: power ball, bounce, and then high jump kick. Right, 3 different types, each one of them different type. Right, and then the training move gives +4 attack, +1 evasion, and then +3 crit. So all right, basically the gimmick over here. Oh, the sync is based on the opponent's, if they have a rebuff, right? It's a tech. So yeah, the gimmick over here is it changes the type, and then you get like new passives and stuff every time you change the type. Oh, I say every time, but you can only really change it once per battle, and it's by using the max move, right? Lowers the opponent's type rebuff by 2 after using its max move. Type rebuff is lowered to the same type as the max move used, replaces the passive skills and sync move with different passive skills, and a sync move after using its different, again, different types of max moves, right? So that's something, I guess, right? And yeah, that's basically how it goes. So at base is just fire, right? The fire one is pretty nice because it has like fuel economy too, so that's like -2 gauge for its moves, which is definitely very, very, very good. And then you have Bronze Sync 5, gets a bit of an extra, 50% damage buff on the sync, right, when your attack is raised, which should always be raised. And yeah, you use your max moves, boom, you go to flying, you get piercing blows, and then you get the sync move countdown -2 guaranteed every time you use a quick move, which is very much appreciated as well over there, right? And next up, like the other stuff doesn't really change, right? So yeah, you change the type of your sync move. And then these passives. For fighting, you get piercing gaze, or your high jump kick doesn't miss and just obliterate yourself, which would slightly suck if that happens, right? And then you also have you heal yourself every time you hit the opponent, which is cool, right? So yeah, that's basically it. Here's the max moves, right? Max airstream, max knuckles, same. If you max fireballs, it's like it's a big damage max move, plus you get the sort of piercing blows kind of thing with it. So that's neat, right? Okay, that's my best of my ability to get through that stuff relatively quickly. Okay, so yeah, as for the moves, Powerball's pretty powerful, right? Bounce and high jump kick. High jump kick's pretty strong. Bounce not like that much. I mean, of these 3 moves, bounce is easily the weakest one, unfortunately. But I mean, it's what can you really expect, right? So yeah, it just really depends on what sort of like stage you're fighting, right? Basically, but 1 unit, 3 different types. If you think that's really worth it, then that's neat. If you don't really care, then damn. All right. So as for the grid is a little, it's slightly all over the place, but like also not really, because it has just a lot of different nodes for like the different types that it's trying to go for. But they're also like relatively close to each other in terms of like the ones that you really want to use for each type. So it's not that bad. But anyways, at base 1 out of 5, you just get the changing, the changing type stuff. What you're mainly missing out is on the big nuke, right? Some other, you know, physical move up next stuff that you get, some other mostly damage boosting or sustaining at least sort of passives that you get over here, right? So at 2 out of 5, you do get some alright things like the hostile environment 2 on Powerball. It's not like it's not crazy amount of power you gain here, but I mean it's something, I guess, right? And or the chance, right? Quick cure, I mean, I'm not sure how often you'd be trying to tank with this unit, but you know that exists. Slippery slope, evasion. That's just trying to just go into that high jump. Was it high jump kick or bounce? I don't know. I guess both of them could use the evasion, right? Just whichever build you're trying to go for. And yeah, that's 2 out of 5. I don't really feel like 2 out of 5 is super worth going for. Is my main point. 3 out of 5, you get Haymaker, you get Max Super Preparation, which is almost always going to be used, considering that's kind of like the thing here, right? You're supposed to have it fight super effective. And then what else? Some sync move power up nodes, right? It has 3 for some reason. 3 is kind of rare, but it's like 3 plus 50 because they're just for like the different ones, right? They do only cost 7 energy each, right? Because it's usually like plus 25 for 5 energy, but these are like plus 50 for 7 energy, so that's really nice, like cost wise, and it just makes sense considering you do need a lot of energy or spaces to go to put all this other stuff in. You also have max double down, which is definitely nice as well, and then you know a few other things here and there. Sync quickening, right? That's probably like your big one. Like if you really want to use it for flying type damage, you kind of almost have to go for this one, because like how else are you just gonna get you know sustain the bounce thing, right? So that would be very troublesome if you don't have sync quickening 3, I feel like. So 3 out of 5, you definitely have a lot of, oh yeah, the top left as well, right? If they miss you, you get physical move up next. Again, that's you know, that's for bounce, right? And then you get max move, physical, or not physical, attack plus up, plus 2 up. I can't speak to it, I don't know why. After using a max move, which, you know, it is missing plus 2 physical attack, so if you don't want to run support, then sure, right? And you don't want to use max knuckle. Alright, so yeah, 3 out of 5 again. I'd say probably you either go for 1 out of 5 or 3 out of 5. Although 3 out of 5, I mean, it's not as bad for like the other builds. It's just you just really need it for the flying one mainly, right? And alright, 4 out of 5 you have soften up, which is neat, right? It's always just a nice quality of life thing. Don't have to RNG yourself. Dashing team is very, very good, in my opinion. Just, like, speed buffs for your entire team is great, especially if you're not running fire, right? Because if you're running fire, then the gauge cost for all your moves are like almost negligible. I guess also flying, since bounce doesn't cost anything either. But yeah, it's always good to give your team speed. And then at 5 out of 5 you get defense crush 9, and then healthy benefits 5. Defense crush 9 is good. It's defense crush. Healthy benefits, it really depends, because like they're trying to give this unit a lot of like tanking and healing capabilities for some reason. Probably mostly for that that high jump kick build, which you could get some really, really nice use out of it, because you could make it so that, you know, if you just don't take enough, you know, if you just make sure you don't take that much damage, right, you get some slippery slope stuff like the evasion buffs, and then, you know, you heal every time you hit them with the fighting, you know, the recovery stuff. And then if you could heal yourself back up to max relatively consistently, this could be a pretty good tank, low-key, right? So there's that. So I'd say the 5 out of 5 and 5 out of 5, they do have good stuff, but as usual, you definitely don't need them to really complete the kit. in my opinion. So the kid's pretty much complete at 3 out of 5. Right now, let's talk a bit about the lucky skills, synchrid, all that stuff, right? Team comps, etc. So for this unit, there's just a lot to consider. Just again, there's just so many the different types, different play styles, even, right? Like, what are you gonna do, folks? There's just a lot of different things you could do with it. So yeah, on that note, right? First of all, lucky skills. As usual, damage dealer, you could always go with Quick Strike 2, but there's a lot of other more interesting things you can consider, because if you are trying to run that more like tankish kind of build with that like 5 out of 5 like healthy benefits, whatever, you could maybe considering picking up something like Wise Entry or Sentry Entry so you get some defenses. Personally, I feel like I prefer those over like Vigilance in this case, because like, you know, like how often you're going to get crit? Like once every 5, 6 turns, whatever. Although, to be fair, if you do get crit, that does hurt a lot. But also, this unit does have bounce, so like, especially versus scripted sages, like, you know the crit's coming, you just bounce, right? You literally just bounce, and then like you're out of there, and you don't really get crit. And then for the other 5, you know, 6 turns, you get extra defenses. You know, each turn you take less damage. I feel like that's I feel like that's a better trade-off, right? I feel like that's a better trade-off. But you can still get visuals if you want, I guess. Healthy healing, maybe, right? You know, as long as it can help you get back to healthy benefits, 5. That's nice, right? You know, this multi-scale Cinderace. So yeah, those are some options. Maybe Head Start slash what's the other one? Head Start slash Adrenaline. You consider it too for stuff like maybe Bounce if you have a team around it. But otherwise, let's get into the grid. So 1 out of 5. Again, you could probably pick up everything if you have the orbs. If not, just pick up like the power up for whichever type you're going for, and then like the attack nodes and the speed nodes. If you want haste, then you could do haste. But yeah, I mean, might as well just go through it, just pick these up. Although these probably would be a bit more worth it. It doesn't matter. It's not that big a deal. Just, you know, you get enough orbs eventually. Play the game long enough. Okay, 2 out of 5. Again, 2 out of 5. There's here's where things get a bit more interesting, just because they have different nodes for different types, right? So let's cover Pyro Ball first. Pyro Ball, you just go all the way to the top right side over here just to get like all this good stuff. The Hostile Environment 2, Move Gauge Refresh as well, right? The Burn Synergy 1, along with Super Duper Effective 1. So that's neat. As for anything else, you can maybe come up here and get up the Max Precision 1 and then like Pinpoint Entry, because it's not guaranteed accuracy. It's only like 90% accuracy, so like maybe, right? You could consider that. What else? So yeah, I don't think there's really much else to really consider. Like Power Reserve is not that good. Slippery Slope, you don't really need it, right? For the rest, probably just put it into like Pyro Ball power ups, and you know, just like attack buffs maybe here and there. Or you could is that no, I'd rather prefer this, unless you really need the haste. So yeah, that's for like Pyro Ball. If you're going for Bounce, Bounce does have stuff like, you know, Super Duper Effective 3. Bounce, you could maybe pick up Slippery Slope, because if you're running Bounce, you might be like a secondary tank right after like your main tank goes down. You could have that at least. So that could be nice. Maybe Quick Cure, just because again, if you're getting targeted, it kind of suck, right? If that happens, so you could do that. What else? Maybe Power Reserve, just because if you're Bounce and you're getting hit, then you might actually, you know, get to Power Reserves. But yeah, the Pinpoint Entry, maybe even like max regen over here, right? With the training move, with the precision up, right? That could also help. As for High Jump Kick, there's not too much to go for High Jump Kick. You don't really need the accuracy stuff, just because with High Jump Kick, you straight up get the free thing, right? You get it's free. You don't need the what's it called, right? You have Piercing Gaze. That's what it was called. Piercing Gaze, right? You got Piercing Gaze, so you're pretty much good there, right? So yeah, I mean, there's really not much you really need for high jump kick. Just pick up high jump kick power-ups. Right, super duper effective one. Maybe the max regen. And then like some attack speed nodes. Yeah. You don't got much, folks. Slippery slope really not much of a point there, right? Maybe haste. So there's that, I guess. Or some HP nodes even. For 3 out of 5, again, same thing, right? Just the different types, you want the different grids and nodes and all that stuff. So now for 3 out of 5, again, let's just start with, I guess, Powerball first, right? So for Powerball, you can still come up here. Most of these, honestly, would want a Haymaker, so I guess this is, like, the one, like, 3 out of 5, you do have some nodes at some really awkward places. Like, for example, well, what if you want a Haymaker for your flying or physical sync, right? Well, unfortunately, you'd have to get, you have to spend a bit more, basically useless energy on the Powerball move gauge refresh. I guess you go all the way over here, but you'd also have to spend at least 6 energy on other Powerball stuff, right? And like this stuff isn't even like that good. I mean, max super preparation is nice, but like, so it's not like that good either. It's only for like one move. It's 10 cost all the way up here, right? And burn energy only if like someone else on your team burns for you. I mean, I guess you could spend a few turns using Powerball to get that 10% burn, but that's it's pretty bad idea in my opinion. Okay, what else? So yeah, as for the rest, you probably want the fire sync thing here. This is assuming we're syncing with unit, because that's kind of like its main point / appeal, or at least one of its main points is it could change its sync type, right? So yeah, there's that. And as for the rest, you can still pick up the pinpoint entry just because of the again, the accuracy for Powerball is slightly suspect, so I'd probably still recommend doing that. But for the rest, they really don't, like, there's max double down, right? Max double down 5. Yeah, and then for the rest, it doesn't have much to do with Powerball, right? So like, you might as well even just pick up the max super preparation. Again, just partially because there's nothing else to do. You can do the burn synergy one, it costs you 5. Or the hostile environment, like, but you don't even need burn though, right? Like, burn doesn't really do anything for you. You don't get extra whatevers, right? So yeah, there's not too much. If you want this, I mean, is your Powerball, you're not really trying to miss or whatever, so just something like this, man. Either want burn synergy or just some Powerball power-ups, honestly. I like that a bit better, right? I feel like, or like sync damage card. It's not your thing, right? You're the fire type. You're going for the fire type stuff. So next, let's talk a bit about bounce. Again, the slightly awkward part of having to come up here. Like, the thing is, most of that stuff that we just did for the pyro ball section, right? Like, a lot of those nodes are also really good for all the other ones. So like, you could basically just run that. Yeah, like this is kind of like a general grid. Like, okay, take away like that Powerball power up. Like, you could, okay, maybe take away the fire impact, but like, I guess this general sort of shape really applies to like all of them. Right? There's just a few different things you could go for each one of them. Like, for example, again, if you want to do something, you just want to be like special and quirky and do something else, I guess for bounce, you try to go for that opponent fail boost thing, right? Because if they miss you, you get the free physical move up next +2, which is that's 80%, right? That's pretty good. And you have to kind of pick up sync quickening. So also, this only costs 10. So like, if you don't, or not even, because you have pinpoint entry over here, like, you should have to just have everything. I guess you're still mixing out like on the flying impact sync up thing, but outside of that, yeah, you get sync quickening too. So but yeah, you could pick this up, try to go for sync quickening, right? The sync with power up, super duper effective 3. So in that case, you just have to just drop a lot of this other stuff, right? Like, you can't really afford all this. I'd still probably have the pinpoint entry, but you know, in this case, maybe just something like this instead. Man, we're one off from the precision too, which also slightly sucks. Or you could just go for this. You gamble for the 10 accuracy here, and well, you're not even getting much there. So yeah, just something like this. Something like this, fine. For the rest, you could pick up some like balance power ups if you want. Or I think the super yeah, super duper effective up one is over there. Maybe no, he can't afford sync damage regardless, people. So yeah, this is fun, but is it like crazy good or whatever? I don't know. I don't know. And for fighting, so fighting is of all three is the one that really just has like the least amount of stuff you could really go for. So again, just the first one for Power Ball, except you just swap a few minor things for fighting. I feel like that probably applies here. But otherwise, it's yeah, it's pretty much the same, man. It's really not too much else like interesting things you could do. Like maybe just for that like move gauge refresh, right? I guess in this case you don't really need the pinpoint entry. You could pick up the sync damage art, which costs you 5 more energy to get to max double down. But like yeah, you could pick up Haymaker. Boom. That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's you don't have too much for fighting, right? I guess if you really want to get into it, 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5 are slightly more interesting in a way, in terms of the stuff. Well, more so 5 out of 5, right? Because actually, let's talk about 5 out of 5. 4 out of 5 is really, you want dashing? Okay, cool, pick it up. Right, that's kind of it. But for 5 out of 5, you do have the healthy benefits thing, which I don't know. I think it's kind of fun. I think it could kind of be fun. So, in this case, right, you're running bounce, right? Assuming you're running bounce, you could pick up, you know, you pick up this stuff, get that healthy benefits, right? So you're healing when you're hitting the opponent, and then maybe yeah, we can afford max regen here. Slightly sucks we don't get the physical boost, although if you really want, I feel like you could go for it, right? You could go for it if you really want. So, like, you could pick this up, and then instead you'd, like, drop, yeah, you drop, like, Slippery Slope in the super effective. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Actually, is it worth it? Because 80% versus, like, 30%, right? Oh, is there no other way to get that extra Slippery Slope here? Oh, actually, what if we go here and, nope, it doesn't work. Oh, also forgot to mention the what's it called, the guaranteed healing on hits is for the fighting version, so you don't get that in flying, because flying's yeah, because fighting's the healing one. Flying is the sync move countdown and piercing blows, right? So yeah, I mean yeah, just stick with like 3 out of 5, man. Now for our team comps, let's start with fire, right? And we'll go through them. So for fire, it's pretty much, you know, if you have Acerola, right? That's obviously your number one choice, their top choice. It gives you Sun, it gives you the, you know, the extra physical move up next, the physical attack buffs. It gives you everything. It's one of the best supports in the game. And then you could also have Singsu Mei over there. Singsu Mei is really nice just because she could help. Well, first of all, sync move countdown, but also could help with the defensive buffs. They're both physical. They're all physical, right? So that's always going to be fantastic. Great damage dealer as well. There's definitely no gauge issues on this team. Obviously, you can still go with the Hilda as well, right? Where's Hilda? Oh, there's Hilda. She's obviously not as good in terms of like the speed aspect in comparison to Mei, but she has some pretty good damage, really good damage herself, right? So this could also work really well. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, you have that extra hostile environment 3 at 5 out of 5. If you really want that burn synergy 1, that's something. Is there anything else worth? Oh, Team Precision Strike at also 5 out of 5. You don't want to pick up the actually stuff. So yeah, I mean, they're good. They're good units, man. Strong units together equals a strong team. Surprise, I know. Anyways, but yeah, as for anything else, this isn't like really a scenario where you'd have to run physical. You could run mix because there's like a lot of really good special fire type damage dealers as well. Obviously, right? I mean, it's fire types. There's a billion of these. You'd close your eyes and like randomly pick one damage dealers, right? And then you'd probably do pretty well. Even in Vernape, just cause Gloria herself is just, you know, good enough, right? So yeah, obviously if you're not using, if you're using mix, then you might want a different support here, but you might also not want a different support here. If they're self-sufficient, then who cares? Just have Acerola help, you know, Gloria cook. So that's for fire. I guess nothing super interesting. Whoa, why did they just swap spots? What is going on? Where's Gloria? There's Gloria. So all right, now for fighting, obviously like the big one is just gonna be him. He's just very good, right? And that's super nice because you don't have like too many great options to really run him with before, but you know, here's another one, right? I mean, previously, like, not that there's like none, right? But you know, previously it's just like, do you have SE Diantha? Do you have you know, like in terms of like purifying types, right? Do you have SE Guzma and enough gauges to support SE Guzma? Or, you know, like outside of that, like even including Guzma, like your best option is like Bead, which I mean Bead's fine with the master passive. That's nice, right? Galar and all. But you just didn't have that many options. Like the other best option is the other Gloria, the Dojo Gloria, who's not even like actually like fighting type, which doesn't matter that much in this case, but still. Alright, but yeah, she could definitely run with Hop over here. Again, Acerola is gonna be always gonna be a top option here. You could also do or Cynthia in this case. You know, obviously swap this out for someone else. It's just the slight issue of the attack thing. Actually, no, you don't have the attack thing because you're using Max Knuckles. Well, I guess you won't get the max damage in for like Max Knuckles because you get the boost afterwards, right? But yeah, over here is again just any like fighting type, right? You just even run like double Gloria, right? Dojo Gloria and this is she now called like Alt 1 Gloria now? What's the deal? I haven't checked it. Is she Alt 1? Anyways, yeah, you could run close combat over there, right? You got 2 Max Knuckles on your team, and the physical deep buffs, obviously, right? You could just get like you get 2 of those the surging strikes in just to have the debuffs and then start just blasting them with a close combat. That could be pretty powerful. So as for like the flying version, I mean flying, it's still like the flying zone, kind of tough, right? So like honestly, might as well just run Liza and just ignore like the zone thing completely, and just run Liza with like Bulu. Again, all physical. Liza, Giga Impact costs a lot of gauges. Bounce costs 0 gauges. So this could be something really, really nice. Man, Liza was... Those two twins were good, man. But yeah, if you don't have Liza, you could... Like Annie Steven, maybe? You could you could always go with Zinnia, although the first sync isn't flying. But Gloria sync is flying. Well, it can be flying once you change it. So, yeah, those are some options, I suppose. Also, like the no flying zone thing doesn't really matter when you get like -2 rebuff on the opponent, anyways. I guess unless it's Gauntlet, but you know, the only flying weak Gauntlet unit is like Bulu, and like she could probably even solo Bulu. So. Not that big. I mean, I'm not even gonna say probably. Like, she definitely could solo Bulu, man. Like, first of all, she does really, really good damage. She has the bounce thing, right? So you're dodging hits from Bulu, all that stuff. It's just that you could only use like 3 bounces before you run out. Like, you get it back with the sync, but if you're like soloing, you'd have to have a few turns not getting it back. So let's get into some pros and cons of the unit. So pros, there's 3 different types, including the sync, so that part's really, really nice, right? You got the different types rebuffs as well, right? It's also a 3-level damage dealer, like you know, it does damage on its regular moves, the sync move, max move as well. Like her damage for fire is although the max move damage isn't like crazy good in comparison with some of the other ones, but it's not bad, right? Still, you know, it's still a few million for free, right? Just click a button, and boom, it's there, right? And the sync is apparently the new strongest fire type nuker, which bodes well for the other types, right? When you think about that. And then Powerball also just really good damage straight up, right? So yeah, the fire type is good. Let's check the other types. So fighting, right? Fighting. The high jump kick, that's over 1 million. It's not as good as some of the other ones, right? Again, I see Diantha, the other Gloria, right? Ironically. And then, yeah, but the sync is really nice, right? That's a very powerful sync. And then, again, you also have that other max move. I guess, like, outside of the sync part, fighting type damage wise, like, just remember, like, the max move and regular move damage, I suppose Doja Gloria is still better, especially with Doja Gloria having the easier debuffs and stuff, right? But on the other hand, like, she has rebuff, so it's a give or take sort of situation, right? But yeah, for the flying type damage, it's okay, right? Keep in mind, again, balance 2-turn, right? So you have to cut the number in half. But it's almost 1 million, which for flying types, it's all right. All right, so yeah, it's like around what, Annie Steven level, right? Which that's a master fair. Not a great master fair, but it's a master fair. But the sync could be the strongest flying type sync, and then you also you get another max move out of it too, right? Again, it's just max move is free whatever 2 million plus damage, and then obviously the different passes for each type, each of them just kind of helping the specific type, right, that it's in. And it could kind of tank if you want. I guess it could tank a bit, so there's that. As for the cons, I guess the flying could get a bit messy if you just don't go for the traditional route of the grid. And then bounce and high jump kick they're just okay, right? They're not crazy good or whatever. They're all right. They're all right. But again, it's I guess the main attraction for it is more so you change the sync, and the syncs are good, right? The syncs are definitely good, and then you have the extra max move damage as well. But yeah, the regular move damage for the other two, the non-fire moves they're just all right. So overall, I guess the main value of this unit does come from the fact that you're getting one unit, or you're getting like 3 types in one. And this is actually like a 3 types in one, where like the sync also changes too, not like those other fake Galarian units that are, oh yeah, it's 3 types, and then like some of the other types don't even do that much damage, and then you don't get a sync, but you get a max move at least with those. But yeah, so that's like the main appeal, I guess, of this unit. I guess the other one is if you just really want a strong fire type damage dealer, a really good one. For example, what if the next high score event is like fire, right? Yeah. So that's nice. Overall, I'd say I do have some reservations about this unit. I guess things might be a bit more clear once I actually try her out. But at the moment, I'd say maybe like a 7.6 out of 10, right? Just some of the straightforward stuff is pretty straightforward, right? Well, obviously, that's straightforward things are straightforward. Just in terms of okay, if you want to go for like a nuke damage sort of like fire build, right? That's you could see that's really nice. For the other ones, it kind of really depends, right? It kind of really depends. So I do want to just at least try it a bit before really giving it a harder conclusion. But at the moment, I think it's all right. It's pretty good. Well, it's not even all right. It's just, again, anniversary's coming up, right? A lot of units this month, so it's hard. It's hard, right? It's hard. So, yeah, that's why it's fun. I guys hope y'all jump in the guys in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the videos for have some more Pokemon content. I'll see you guys in the next one.